Welcome to Plato's Cave. I'm Dave, and Mackie would be here too, broadcasting from Australia for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio, the home to fresh ideas. Buy some merchandise or donate if you like anything to say. Join us in the chat room at revolution.radio and talk to us while we are on air. It's a thing. You can do it. So do it. Do it. Come on, do it. Join us. Yeah, that's right. Join us in the chat room. This is Plato's Cave. It's a great allegory. If you don't know what it means, look it up. You'll enjoy it. Tune in to us online and on your smart device directly via an app, or listen at home on a Grace tabletop digital radio. You can access the station's archives for free. Do that. Get yourself some merch while you're at it. It's really cool. I'm broadcasting out of Darkinjung country, and I expect that Meckie's going to be in Daruk country, but we'll see when he arrives. It's 9 p.m. here on the east coast of Australia. It's possibly 7 a.m. where you are on the east coast of the US. I don't know the time difference across the Rockies or Central. I don't know what those times are. Be 5 a.m. possibly Central, and could be 4 a.m. maybe California time. But either way, however it's turned out for you, you were lucky enough not to be in the Middle East or in the western edge of Australia today, because the X-ray flare, X-class flare, it's X-class X-rays, hit X-rays, finally made it to Earth, and there was some communication disruption going on, usually gigahertz, Wi-Fi, mobile phone signals, but that's where the problems lay. I'm ready for the video where Mackie arrives, by the way, but I'm not going to put it on unless Mackie's there. I announced this in the last show because we were just burning through the news stories so quickly in the second half of the show, and either laughing or being horrified by the news stories themselves, that I announced that it was a news reaction channel that we've slowly morphed into. Now, that's completely possible. I'm not going to dismiss it, because it is kind of what we do. I'm not saying we do it. It's not the program that we've put together. Mackie put this together, actually, Plato's Cave, where the messenger was killed. The messenger was one of the persons inside the cave, who grew up like everybody else, watching the shadows on the wall. The shadows were being made by people outside that this person discovered, having escaped and returned back to the cave in order to tell the people, hey, what you're watching isn't real life. It's just the shadows caused by something else. And they promptly unalived him because it disrupted their viewing of the shadows on the wall. Now, that allegory is great, and it makes a lot of sense today in this crazy world we live in, where people will become emotionally connected to something despite being intelligent, despite being an educated person or having a breadth of knowledge where you know they really should know better. But an emotional connection to either, let's call them dignitaries, but that's probably not an apt word, the people in power. This is, I forget there's a CIA project on this. I forget the name. Not Northwood. There was another one. And someone in the chat room, if you can, just let me know if you can remember what it is. But now Meckie's calling me, and I'm going to not answer that. I'm going to see if I can add him to the call, request to join, and that should fix that problem. Let's see if he answers this call. 5, 4, 3, 2. Not at all. I can imagine that he should be seeing one of his devices at least ringing. So I'm just going to say that I'm calling him. When I'm calling you. My mother used to hate that song for a very good reason. Not because she couldn't sing it. She couldn't. But it was used in Mars Attacks. So she grew up with it. And all the dogs in the street would howl when someone played it on their old gramophone, on the Bakelite records before vinyl. Crazy. He wants me to hang up. Why? Now I'm just teasing him. I'm trying to join. Well, that's good. There you go. You made it, Mickey. Woohoo! Let's see if your audio works now. Oh, it sounded like it started working. Abruptly, the sound ceased. There he is. You're completely capable of talking. I know it. We're not running video. It's only you and me that are running video at the moment.
Why?
Because it was only me, you pork chop.
No, you look good. You could be like, OnlyFans. It's all good. Just,
OnlyFans. There you go.
Show your shoulder. Ooh.
Oh, look. Oh,
risque.
Hey, baby. It's in black. You can't see. That's funny.
That's funny. No, look, Teams just seized up. It completely froze. I had to shut down everything else. Now I'm just running Teams. It's funny. I haven't even got
time, Mickey.
I haven't even got a browser up. Let me see if I can open a browser.
Every single time I open up.
Yeah.
Every single time we start a new call, I've got to reconfigure the video stream.
Oh, jeez. So
it would be lovely if we could automate that process, at least in a process. Let's try and establish video before we go live. That'd be great.
So someone should be there, right? Yeah. Okay, you've read us in, right?
Yeah, I've read us in. We're good.
Okay. Look at you reading us in. Fantastic. I thought about what you said, and we have become a little bit of an analyst's dreamboat. We're dreamboats, clearly we are. I mean, everybody agrees. All the experts are agreeing that we are dreamboats. Dreamboat. No, but it lends itself to analysis. What's happening today? It really does. But
that's right.
But let's not forget why we're here, right? This is Plato's Cave, and what does Plato's Cave really compel us to do? It is to look behind and around. And the critical thing here for us to understand, not just Dave and I, but all of you people, if I ever get into my browser, I will go into the chat.
Did you hear how I introed?
No.
I spoke about the Plato's Cave allegory, and then I started to segue into the emotional connection, an unrealistic emotional connection people have to political figures.
Nice.
Which is by design.
Perfect.
By design. By a CIA project named blah, 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 whatever it is.
That's it. No, but that's
blah, blah, blah.
Yep. That's excellent.
It's perfect segue for you. Let's go.
It is 100% where we need to look, because look at the stories that Dave and I have been discussing, right? Big stories. Ultimately, though, meaningless stories, right? The only stories that really would matter would be, what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in general to the state of the world, how far all these programs are being pushed. And I'm talking about now, things like Agenda 21. I'm talking about things like the Great Reset. I'm talking about things like the reordering of our global political system, right? And while we touch on those, right, we don't focus. We focus on the $400 million jet and habeas corpus, and well, all of these things are part of it, and they're helping erode the structures that we need in place to keep us from the Great Reset. They are not the story. They're not the story.
That's right.
The story is the big story, and it ties in nicely with the mind control series we're running in Shiny Side Out. The story is that nobody seems to care, Dave. There is no movement.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Where's the emotional connection to a way of life that we're used to?
Yeah, I agree.
There's so much change.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy that was taken at force by like 8 police officers out of a Commonwealth Bank office the other day?
I did not.
He wanted his $3,000 out of his own account,
Yeah.
and they refused to serve him because they asked, "What was it for?" "Oh, take $3,000 out, please." "No, we can't give to you unless you tell us why you need the money."
You're kidding.
No, it's 100% true. He was dragged kicking and screaming out because then they said, we're not going to give you the money. We are going to ask you to leave, and then you are trespassing once you refuse to leave a private, office space. So any private property, once you refuse to leave, the police can be called, and then he goes, "But I just want my money." "But you can't have it." And now they've restricted access to his account and frozen all his funds. He doesn't have access to it anymore.
What was the rationale?
Oh, no, it's because the end user agreement has changed entirely. And CommBank just got in trouble for yesterday. Let me see. I found the story of this today. They'd issued a letter via email to not all of their contacts, but their customers, but to one guy who just happens to be CEO, and just with a bunch of 4 questions. And it's, why do you have cash at home? Why do you want money out? Why do you want to take money out of the bank? Why do you want to have cash at home? How did you earn that money, and what are you going to spend it on?
Really?
That's 100% true. They ran it on the ABC today.
But it's none of their business.
You'd think that, but there's a company called, here it is. I've got a news story here. Everyone has complained about it today, and there's going to be tons of backlash. So I've got the middle screen up here. Ignore the advertising, which is sim racing parts. It says, bizarre CommBank send email leaving customers absolutely disgusted, it says. I won't do the video, but it says, a customer spoke with the media after Commonwealth Bank asked him why he had cash in his home. Yeah, absolutely disgusted, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they won't let me go into the story. But that's what it is. They ran the story about it, and he rang their help desk, and he said, look, I don't know if this is a scam email or not, but can you tell me what's going on? And they said, yeah, well, AUSTRAC, AUSTRAC, gave everybody, all the banks, permission to ask their customers who look a little suspicious on their books because they don't want people using cash anymore. While cash is still legal tender in this country. And remember, there was a big backlash about, oh, we want you to take money out of the bank and use it because we need cash to show how much cash people want, because the cash vans that drive around used to be 3 companies. Now there's 1 company, and it can't sustain itself because people don't use cash anymore. We have the highest uptick and rate per capita of people using either their wristwatch, or their phones, or we have tap cards. We've been doing this for a lot longer than the rest of the world now.
In fact,
however,
it's higher than Japan. Keep going.
That's right. However, the EULA changed near the end of last year. And it said that they now have the permission for a bail-in, which they can take all of your money, leaving you a set amount. That doesn't matter, regardless of how much money you got in the bank. The other thing is that now they've added a field to their accounts on each person that says when you're taking money out, you've got to provide a reason for it. And there's a guy that's done a unique thing. He's gone to the bank, filmed himself taking money out, and when they ask him, he says, like, there's the big list of things that he says which are all inappropriate. I can't say them on air. He wants an enlargement. He wants a reduction. It's for his wife's cha-cha. All of these things, yeah. And just so that he's a comedian, he thinks it's funny that they have to type that in.
I will do that if they ask me.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's a membership for my Ku Klux Klan order. So because we've got a cross burning this weekend. You know, we're probably going to Jewish synagogue, and we're just going to stand there and look at the Jews.
I got the short straw. I had to build the with the rope. It's got a rope motif. So
we've got a lynching this weekend. I'm buying the bike.
It's a lynching.
It's a lynching. Good old-fashioned lynching.
So
this is incredible.
It is, and I mean this right at the point when they told us cash is still there. Now they don't want us using cash at all, and if you get upset about having to tell them why, you can be arrested now. Like what just happened?
Okay, this is actually
right.
a story we should look at. No. Thank you for bringing it up, because that's exactly what we should be looking at. Let's unpack it. So, ostensibly, meaning, you know, to apparently, or for all intents and purposes, but it sounds better, ostensibly.
It does.
It's just one of those words. Pernicious rather. Pugnacious. I'm just a dictionary today. No. They have tried to take cash out for various reasons. Of course, if you get rid of cash out of the economy, it gives you a greater measure of control. We don't have to. Everybody should understand that. You take cash out of the economy, and everybody is just electronically transacting. That gives everybody, including the government, a lot more control. Okay, understood. There are of course, varying factions here that are. They have different opinions, and in order to, because cash is still required though in certain circumstances. So to keep the cash trucks alive, there was this, this advice: well, take some cash out, etc., etc. So that the truck company decided, because cash is still ferried around. So if you have cash, you're fairly independent, right? You can transact even if the banks are down, and we've had this happen. So if anybody asks, why do you want cash? Because the systems keep going down all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when the systems are going down,
one of the arguments that one of the news persons, the anchor, said, you asked us to take cash out, and we're not allowed to have it?
Yeah. So now, is cash used for illegal transactions? Yes, but, and I would say but, because it's a lot easier and safer to use any kind of cryptocurrency for those things. It's just easier, right? It's easier for criminals to use crypto than it is to use cash, right? Not only that,
they've cleansed it, Mecky. They've cleansed it. They've left the story. I've got the actual email.
Yeah.
I've got the email on screen, but they've cleansed the news story where they showed the man being dragged out. It must have had a court order to be removed.
His identity, to protect his identity, I imagine. But see, this actually is completely incomprehensible, right? Because I will have to go out next week or the week after to take cash out of the bank. Because I have to. So I'll see what happens. But I will say, oh no, I've got a really interesting condition on my bottom. My anus has all of these funny little. I can show you, but the smell is horrendous.
That terrible smell. Wife hates it. I got to sleep in the other room now.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to take my pants off, but if you want to smell it, go ahead. It's okay.
Good.
But that's what I need it for. There's a new salve out on the market. They make it from African babies' fetuses. Yeah, they make it from it's made from African fetuses, but the fetus has to be still alive as they chop it up. Otherwise, it's not functional. So that's what I need. It's for an African salve for my anal condition.
Do you remember Salve from Ren and Stimpy? Is that? I love the Ren and Stimpy ads. They're so good.
What? But see, little by little, Dave. It's little by little.
Oh, is it? And it's speeding up. And this is the big thing that I'm talking about. That Klaus Schwab announced his retirement for the end of the year. Then suddenly he stood down in April, only then to be replaced by someone I think who's got more. Maybe he doesn't like the things shifting right on his spreadsheet. He doesn't like his project manager. He's got to get this done, and I believe this is what it is. It says, this is Louis Christopher. He's the CEO of a company, and I was right, Austrac is it. And he says, Orwellian stuff, absolutely despicable. Just out of the blue, the bank sent me the enclosed email, which I'm not going to show you. It says, to know how have I built up my wealth? He's a CEO. Why have I made cash withdrawals? If I am holding cash at home, why? Why did I make certain transactions to third parties? He said he called the bank and it was true. This was from a Twitter entry that he did.
Well, my homosexual, lesbian, transsexual lover only takes cash. And all the things I ask, I can explain what they are, but they involve fish and cadavers.
Yeah, I've got a thing. It's with fish. So
it's easier to buy corpses with cash. That's all I can say.
Much easier. Keir Starmer rang me for the train trip, but I was a bit late. I didn't get there. I need a whole bunch of cash for that. He said something about soap powder. I don't know what it was.
Who knows these days? I mean, really.
Remember the bath salts? The guy that ate the guy's face or whatever in Miami, Florida, man.
It happens. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing.
So Mekki and I have been talking about since the announcement, late COVID announcement, that the Great Reset they blew the dust off that. You can start to see this stuff all happening now. Every country has had something. Every country has been practicing something, instituting a trial to see how it's going to work, and then feeding back the goods and the bads of those projects, and so that they can align them better with people. I don't know, Mekki. I really think this is, despite the banks trying to stop us from using cash and complaining at the same time that they have to fund with all their billions of dollars in profit, each one of them, these cash trucks. They could own the cash trucks and do it themselves for wages. They could. But do they? No. Apparently, in the last 6 months, they removed 6,000 ATMs across Australia. They just don't want people taking money out.
But you can, if you go to your home branch, wherever your home branch is for your bank, and you go to the teller machine there, you can take out as much money as you want. You know that, right? There's no limit.
Yes, but that's right. But they're right now they're wanting to find out why.
The teller machine doesn't.
No, the teller machine says nothing.
Well, so I go to the teller machine. I mean, that's what I would do.
I think we still have a limit of $1,000 before it has to be acknowledged. Or maybe because there's so few ATMs, maybe there's a point at which it'll say you need to go into the branch.
No. There's every ATM except for your home branch has I think it's $1,000 limit.
Sure.
Right? But so what? So I withdraw 10 times or 100 times. Big
Yeah,
deal,
that's right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that I can. I haven't got that much
I can't.
money
I
in the
can't.
bank.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly you could. I mean, if you go to, I mean, if I go into the bank and I withdraw cash, I do it because I like the interaction with the person, right? But look, these things as they come along, right? And certainly, if the bank thought he was suspicious or whatever, then they should have handled it better than calling the cops. But
Oh, I
this is
found it.
this
I
is the
found the
story.
video.
If you
Hang
can
on.
send it to me, that'd be great. But this is very
It's on
similar.
Twitter.
I've got a story that is similar in kind, though not the same. My daughter is going to sit for the selective school tests, or she was meant to, but it was all cancelled because I think 2 weeks ago on the weekend they had booked out fairly large venues, and the Canterbury race course. They had the opportunity class sessions for the kids in the morning, the tests in the morning, and
Mm-hmm.
for selective school was going to be the afternoon.
Oh, we saw
after
that on
lunch.
the news. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of my daughter's school friends, she went to that on that day was her test at the race course. Our daughter, our date was different. It was I think it was the day after, in fact. This is a Saturday. This was a Saturday. Her test was on Sunday. So they all get there, but apparently the test had been delayed due to IT issues. Computers didn't work, whatever. So they lost 2 hours. Now, the way they had planned it is that the morning shift would finish the test and then leave, and leave plenty of parking for everybody else, and then they could just all come in, so like a shift change kind of thing. Now, because of the 2 hour delay and no one told anyone anything, the car park was full, and people were circling for half an hour to find parking. So there were like hundreds, if not thousands, of cars that had nowhere to go, and the kids couldn't be let out. And eventually, when they did come out, there were thousands of people there. Hundreds of children with their parents, right? And some people were coming out, others were trying to get in. It got so chaotic, and because there was a delay, right? And it's a fairly important test if you want to go to a selective school, right? Because it means it's a really good school, but it's also free.
Mm-hmm.
That they called in the riot squad. They called on the riot squad. Now, these are school children that are going to sit for a test. This is not a crowd of anyone protesting anything. These are kids that want to go, and so that means they're fairly smart kids, right? You wouldn't try for selective school if you're stupid. But, I mean, you could if you want to. It's just a waste of time. But the point is, parents with their children were confronted with riot police officers in full riot gear, mind you. Okay? And so what they did, so they canceled all tests for that weekend, and our test is now, I think, next week or something. It was one of the biggest fails I have ever seen in any public kind of arena. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up, who sends riot squad police to school age? When I say school age children, we're talking about kids in year 5 and 6.
That's right.
Okay, and so that should be, if anything, normal police officers could come along, right? That's what you want, just regular police officers, not riot squad police officers. And it is the little erosions where things are becoming normalized, Dave. This person's getting arrested. Why? Oh, he didn't have a good answer why he wanted cash from the bank. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Right? Oh, why did the riot squad come? Oh, this guy had a barbecue in his front yard. Can you imagine in his front yard? A barbecue in his front yard.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, clearly riot squad is required. But it is these little things. But it is. It is these little things that add up. And I don't know if you've been following it, but the for-profit childcare sector, not the council-run ones, but the for-profit ones, there seem to be thousands of cases of child abuse and the wrong people looking after kids, right? And it's an erosion. So 2 things have happened, or are happening. One, the whole world is now running on the profit motive. We have forgotten what our civilization is for. Okay, we have forgotten it. We all think we all have to make lots of money. That's all. We've got to make lots of money. That's it. That's all that matters, right? And only if you step outside, and I've spoken to a few people off the grid and such, only when you step outside of that insanity do you realize just how much we're driven by it. So everything is for profit now. When you think about it, now childcare services are really critical because it frees up people, so they can take part in the economic life of the country. That's really the main purpose, right? So kids are looked after well, and while the parents work. Okay. Again, this is profit motive coming in again. In the olden days, grandparents would have looked after it. When we lived in the village, all the children would have been looked after by the village, right?
Collectively, that's right.
Yeah, relatives, friends, but even these days, grandparents, etc., etc. But that's sort of falling apart. It's breaking down, especially except for some ethnic communities.
It's not been supported at all in our
Correct.
Western view of family life.
100%.
It's been taught
100%.
to us. It's not our creation.
No. You're absolutely correct. But then you have to ask yourself who's teaching it. Now, what also has happened is that all services virtually have either been privatized or are in the process of privatization or are looked at being privatized at some point in the future, right? In order to save money.
I've got a reference that I knew you were getting to, and a prison system.
Yeah, 100%.
So privatizing the prison system seemed like a good idea until one of the judges was getting, let's say, a finder's fee for all of the people he was putting into that prison.
You see?
That's profitable.
But as soon as the end goal is money,
only money,
it all falls apart. It is no longer about the service we're providing. See,
that's right.
We should provide, as a government, as a nation state, even as a human civilization, there's certain things that we should provide citizens, right? Even but citizens, as part of normal life, because that's how civilization works. We need these things. We should be thinking about the quality of healthcare, not the cost of healthcare, the quality of healthcare, the quality and availability of education, communications, transport.
Lefty, pinko, commie.
That's me. These are things, but see, people have forgotten that. Let me give an example, right? In a corporation, right? Let's say you're a shipbuilder, right? And you make great ships, and then you become a shareholding company. So you get listed on the stock market, et cetera, right? So it no longer matters that you make great ships. It's completely irrelevant. What matters is how confident your investors are, your shareholders, in your predictions on how you're going to do in the future. That's the only thing that matters. And that it's the main thing that determines the price of a share is customer confidence, because the trading reflects. If everybody's selling your shares, they go to the toilet, they're worth nothing. Okay? So, at this point, this shipbuilding company could be making cotton candy. It wouldn't matter. If you can accurately predict, up or down, doesn't matter, but if you can accurately predict how your company is going to perform over a certain period of time, the stock market will love you. The reason we had these ups and downs, that there's actually, by way of explanation, the reason we had ups and downs in the stock market recently, when Donald Trump announced his tariffs and then didn't and so forth, wasn't because there was an effect of the tariffs at that point. There's no immediate effect. The tariffs come in, but there's no immediate effect. There's a knock-on effect. It takes weeks before you feel the pain.
You've got supply chain to the shelf.
Yeah, but that would take weeks before anything would happen to you. Like, it would be literally sometimes even months, because you got warehouses. The reason the share prices fell is because of uncertainty in customer, or in this case, shareholder confidence, right? As soon as you take that away, the confidence, the share prices fall, and the market is in free fall, all kinds of bad things happen. But my point is this. We used to make great ships, the best ships, wonderful ships. They last for 100 years.
You said right? Trump. We used to make ships, the best ships. They were great.
Best ships. But now I'm listed in the stock market, and it no longer matters if I make ships or not.
That's right.
It only matters how well I manage my books and how well I communicate to the market. Those are the things that matter. Nothing else. Literally, nothing else.
If I say we're going to make our numbers without saying what the number is, it increases confidence.
Yeah.
All it is just people blowing smoke up each other's butts.
That's right.
It's
Enron,
the land of hopes and dreams, Becky.
it is.
Market.
In fact, thank you. Great segue. Enron took it to the next level.
Oh, yeah.
Enron magicked up future profits without any basis in reality. None. Zero. This was literally magical thinking.
Do you remember the pipeline they tried to buy and it fell through?
Well, these
That's
things
right.
happen. Hey.
And then, I'm going to stop my car in my driveway and
yeah,
pop, pop,
but
pew, 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 pew. That's what we meant to say on the.
But this is the truth of it, right? So our civilization has I want to say devolved into this state of consistent profit chasing. Nothing else matters. And so you see it in the services that are being delivered. People are dying in hospitals, well-stocked hospitals in Australia. Children are dying in the emergency room, right? Children are being abused in childcare. Houses, multi-story apartment buildings, 20-story apartment buildings show cracks that make them uninhabitable. And why? Because they use cheap building materials. Every ill in our society, virtually every ill that we see
blame
today.
Of money. Yep.
Yes. Cost saving, cutting corners, corruption, chasing the dollar. And the biggest one, the single biggest thing that will come and bite us all in our rear, the single biggest thing is this. We've discussed this before. Once you have automated everything and AI the hell out of all the things we do. Right, I'm in the chat room now.
Hurrah!
And nobody has a job anymore except for the CEOs or the C-level people or the board members or whatever, right? So they all have jobs. Now my question is this: who is going to buy all that stuff? Who is going to buy all the services and goods? No money. They don't have enough money to buy it. So who will? The 2,500 billionaires? They're not going to make up for the 8 billion consumers that are the rest of us, right? So none of this is going to work. It will collapse. And the funny thing is this: the people that see this, and make no mistake, they see it. They're not stupid, right? They see it. They don't care because they're going to be okay. You understand? They're going to be okay. You're not going to be okay.
I wouldn't worry about them if I was you. That's right.
No, they're going to be fine. They're going to be okay because they have the means to survive whatever comes their way. I mean, unless something bad happens. I mean, something really. But the point is this: they can weather the storm, right? They have the means. Most of us do not have the means to survive something like that. When the economic system collapses, and it will, it cannot not collapse. The way we're driving this, right? Especially, that's good, Fleddy. I have a job as well. the way we're driving this, and really only governed by the profit motive. That's it. And I'm eyebrow deep in the corporate world. Have been there for 30 years. So I've seen it all, right? And I'm on fairly senior levels where I get a lot of insights too. It is astounding. It really is. People aren't really people anymore. They're just numbers, just resources, right? Just like a piece of furniture, right? No matter how much expertise you have, or it's like what happened in America when Doge was firing all these experts, nuclear maintenance engineers, viral research fellows, doctors, etc., and then realized, oh, maybe. Maybe
we should bring some of them back because we don't know. Yeah,
bring it back, but they couldn't because they had disabled email. I think that's hilarious. That's right. No, look, Flatty says the secret is to have a job that is so cheap that they can't get rid of you because you're the best deal they will ever find. That's true, but it's the best deal they can find is nothing, Flatty. Once you
that's
once you make the initial investment, right, which is not that much really anymore, you just pay nothing for AI or automation. It really is fantastic. It's every capitalist's dream to achieve this, to get rid of the labor force, right?
So I was
This,
watching a story today where Trump and Elon Musk are over in Saudi Arabia signing a bunch of deals.
yeah,
Don't care for the deals myself. It's fine. They can do what they want. The thing that I was most interested in was how Elon Musk replied to the future,
yeah,
because he's just finished speaking about robots, and the Saudi guy said robot cars, kind of not real, but auto driving cars, tunnels. They talked about a whole bunch of things, and he thanked the West for turning us from an oil economy into a future economy.
yeah.
Blah blah
I
blah.
just have
All of
to.
those things were interesting, but the point is, uh, when Elon Musk referred to UBI, but instead of universal basic income, he was saying that everyone should get a universal high income, which is only imaginary money to spend. Imaginary. It's not real. It'd be all digital. And I think my go on this is that would be
Yeah,
it would have an expiration date.
yeah. I have to respond to the chat.
Fleddy.
Blames says, when the economic system fails, the rich become the poor and the poor become the rich. These guys are talking shite, which is you and I. Level 9,000 shite. Okay. Now let's be clear, Blames. When the economic system fails, the people that live paycheck from paycheck will have access to exactly nothing. No food, no water, no electricity, no emergency services. It'll all fail because it'll all fail together, right?
They'll have access to a ton of violence, so that'll be
ton of
high
violence
on the list.
Whereas the rich that either live in estates or compounds or gated communities have the means to survive pretty much any kind of economic turmoil. During the Great Depression, the rich didn't become the poor and the poor didn't become the rich. The rich became richer. Why? Because they bought up everything. They bought up everything. Blames, if you have something to say, talk to the management. They'll give you a show, right? They'll give you a show. But the point is that never in history has there been a reversal where the poor become the rich. Even during the French and Russian revolutions, the poor did not become the rich. The new ruling classes, right, that arose above the masses, they became the new rich. Not all the people. It has never happened. Never happened. And trickle-down economics, quite rightly, doesn't work at all. Trickle-down is a complete nonsense because
it's a good thing to say if you want more money and you're already rich.
Yeah.
You see, the argument I always hear every single election, every time someone prominent wants to get in that role, they go, "You just give us more money and we'll make sure everyone else gets it."
Yeah.
And then they say trickle-down economics. And everyone goes, "Oh, yeah. Oh, that's tremendous. Yes, well done you, and well done you, and you over there," right?
Sorry, what Blames is saying, no, the people that have nothing are going to raid you and take everything. Okay, so you're assuming that the people that have nothing will have the means to raid other people, right? This is not going to be like a Mad Max scenario, right? It's a movie. In reality, look at Africa. Look at what happens to the poor people there, where the economic systems have failed. You know who stays rich? The generals on top. The generals on top keep the billions, right? Now, why don't the poor in those countries go and raid the ones that have everything? Okay?
All the weapons.
It has never happened. It has never happened. The poor are perpetually downtrodden. Okay, some of the leaders of the revolutions will rise to become the new elite, or parasites, as I like to call them. If you can give me one instance, Blames, and then I will stop talking to you because now you're getting unpleasant.
Yes.
If you give me one example in history where this has happened, I'll shut up. I'll read it out. I've read out all your stuff so far. Okay, so give me one example, Blames, where a revolution has made the poor the rich and the rich the poor. One example.
Your time starts now.
Yeah.
You have 20
And then
seconds.
what? Come back next week and tell me.
Sure.
Anytime. It's all good. But the point is this, right? Whenever an economic system, any civilization became top heavy, it collapsed. Because the economic activity is generated usually by the large group of people in the middle, what we call the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to call the middle class, doesn't matter. But it's the people that generate most of the economic activity, right?
They pay the most tax.
Pay the most tax.
The
Absolutely.
poor don't pay any and the rich don't pay any.
Yeah, that's right. So, look, I'm happy to take on other opinions, but I need some factual evidence, right? I have studied history. I have, and not just the history that you learn in school. And Dave is no virgin in this area either. I just want one example. I know we got 10 minutes. Let's get off this. But Blames, come back next week and tell us where we're wrong. So when it collapses, though, right? That's when you have then.
He replied, or Blames replied.
That's not an example. This is not. I'm sorry, but
we're not reading that one out. But that's okay.
I'm not going to read that out.
We understand the position that you
no,
take.
There's no position. There's no position, Dave.
They're taking a position.
That's an opinion.
Saying, no, it's an opinion, but they're taking a position that you can just overthrow the rich because they won't be able to protect themselves and they'll have everything. Well, no, that's not really true. If you'll have marauders, gangs, groupings of people who are working for the collective goal of the group, who will own some territory, taking it from everybody else, not the rich, just from regular poor people. And then those gangs will eventually confront each other, and there'll be a King of the Hill episode, then one final last gang with lots of body count who will have the ruins, and they don't last long. When everything turns upside down and there is nothing, and civilization is never going to come back again, that's what happens.
Time will pass,
because we live in a pile of people. Our big cities don't support growing food. There isn't the resource we have, like if we were all living on the ground and we all had real estate to be able to plant, and we were all kind-hearted, lovely people, and we're all nice to each other, and we shared food, and you didn't need weapons. What you're talking is fiction. All right?
Yeah. It just doesn't work the way. Our cities are designed the way they are to maximize a workforce, a labor force, right?
That's right.
Be used in offices, factories, etc. That's why our cities. That's why we have division of labor. That's why we have supply chain issues. That's why things are moved around globally now, of course, and that's why there are no farms in the city. Right, you won't find terribly many farms or acres and acres of cornfields in the city, right? But the food has to come from somewhere, and the supermarkets are stocked. It's a very complex system, and when that complex system fails, as it had, for example, during COVID, we saw that wasn't good. People were fighting over toilet paper, not the rich, because they're sitting at home in their mansion
with lots of toilet paper. No,
and Fleddy is right.
With their bidets.
Yeah. When the rich have to police work with them, when everything goes to down the hill, the police ain't going to be there. When we talk about the police, right, the rich being able to set themselves up and have everything at hand, being future-proofed, will have security forces. Okay,
that's true.
Do you know what the one thing the system is doing? Oh, it's one duty. The one duty for any given power structure is to maintain itself, right? Under any circumstances. And that's it.
And lavender streams. Oh, sorry. Yes. Surrey. Good on you, Surrey, for saying that. People forget that the police were formed to protect the interests of the establishment.
Correct. We talk about this all the time. The laws are not for the rich, the parasites, not for the rich. The laws are, if you have power and or money, ideally both, you get away with almost everything. Look at the Bidens as an example. Look at the Kennedys. Look at the Trumps. They get away with everything. If you or I were caught in the same thing, you think someone would come along and pardon us or get us out of trouble with daddy's money or mommy's money or whatever it might be?
Not a chance. No.
Not a chance. I find blames interesting. Maybe you're just a born contrarian. It's okay. I'll take it.
It's okay. I think blames is new to
Yeah.
our way of thinking. And look, I
Might be new
appreciate
too.
I appreciate you. Do like, subscribe, share, and comment to any of our videos. That'd be fantastic. Even you,
Correct.
blames.
Yeah. Look, if you come back with one example of where in history the rich were eaten by the poor, let's say, right? You know what I mean? I will eat crow and say that blames was right in everything he or she asserted. I got no issue.
And you can't claim a zombie apocalypse.
That's a fictional TV show, so that doesn't count. No. Okay, so please, let's do that. You were sent an invitation, Dave. I
know. I'm looking to see if I can find.
Sorry, well, clearly.
Invite. I see it now.
I didn't get an invitation. I didn't get one, but it's okay. That's all right. I'll live.
No, I'm good. I have done it now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thanks for not sending me one. Right, that's all good. No. But look, it is certainly a question of reality and what we can accept as reality. And the problem is that our reality is becoming distorted. Right, we are starting to accept more and more things which our parents or grandparents would never have accepted. Never. Okay, you're an it. Okay, or whatever floats your boat, blames. But we have now given up, I think, to a large degree, on many things that our parents, grandparents held dear. Right, they fought for it. Our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents fought for our labor rights.
That's right.
We're signing our rights away, hand over fist. Mm-hmm. We are creating, it's really very interesting to see just how much we're willing to give up. After 9/11, the American people, for example, after a Patriot Act 1 and 2,
yes.
Homeland Security, they were giving up all of their civil liberties. Well, most of them, and now it's going even further. Even in America, we had something similar to the Patriot Act, which was passed at night so nobody could read it.
That's right.
It was like a fly-by-night operation.
Thousands of pages, no one could read it.
Yeah.
And it did the same thing as the US anyway. It was a cut-down version of it, but it's still, we established a whole bunch of things now for digital surveillance and keeping your metadata, everything about a person, all joined together. The fusion database that, like, America after 9/11 wanted, always said that they didn't have, but was pitched before 9/11. And there was a project to stand it up before 9/11. But after it, they complained they didn't have it, and then they got it. But I think the FBI didn't want anything to do with it because they were trying to do something on their own. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy times. But we didn't complain about it. We didn't complain one iota. America didn't complain one iota about it. Britain hasn't complained a single peep about all the surveillance and all the increasing levels of surveillance and identity. In Australia, we've got a few people that are complaining about this deleting of cache or swerving us away from using cache ever again. And it's pretty hard, Mickey. I think we're, out of all the countries in the world, we have the least motive to do anything.
Yeah.
I think we're all drowning in news stories. We have no idea to recognize what's happening to us.
What they say is this, and I know we're running out of time, but what they say is this: hard times produce hard men. Hard men produce good times. Good times produce soft men. Soft men produce soft times or bad times, right? And then the cycle continues. So we've been living in a soft world for a long time, really, in the West. I'm talking about the West now, right? Not anywhere else. But in the West, we've been living in a soft world. And everything our great-parents, our great-grandparents had to fight for and work for, we have. So it's easy. There's the music. Hey, thank you so much for listening to Platos Cave. We're coming to you again on Sunday or Saturday night, depending on where you are, with the shiny side out. And we're going to talk about mind control yet again. Don't go anywhere. Something else is coming up. And always good to have new people in the chat. Good to have different opinions. And again, my offer stands, come up with information. But always, Dave,
Keep yourself safe.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
Ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
and I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Tune in to the Family Industrial Complex podcast here on Revolution Radio, Studio B, every Wednesday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Get fit, empowered, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Crosstalk with Sarah Cross, a place for radio wanderers to learn about the highest laws and other related topics, with the occasional stroll